Welcome back, guys. Getting into face pulls, where their value is, where their value isn't. I think very commonly when we are training face pulls, it's an idea of, oh, it's a rear delt exercise or an upper back exercise. At a base level, it's not a bad idea. It's not a bad exercise. Or I typically enjoy using them the most as part of a warm up. I think it's a very good way to get the scaps moving, right? Get through protraction and retraction. We can also, in a way, set it up where I could actually actively cue external rotation, so kind of like a bilateral external rotation exercise if I wanted to cue more ER somewhat with somebody, or literally just simulating like a horizontal row, getting into internal rotation. But the limitations of it are, if my goal was to train upper back, or if my goal was to train rear delts, there's probably much better ways to do so. So if we're gonna use face pulls, I don't love it from the standpoint of like, this is an S tier hypertrophy exercise. It's probably quite the opposite. If my goal was to train my rear delts, for example, we need to start to understand some of the basic anatomy around the rear delts. So kind of humerus to scap, right? So for me to maximize the amount of relative tension I'm getting as I lengthen the muscle, I probably need one of those points to stay fixed. So as I move through retraction and abduction of my shoulder or extension of my shoulder, I'm moving at both the humerus and I'm moving at both the scap as I move through protraction and adduction, doing the same idea. So if I would like to train my rear delt, for example, more isolated, I would rather get on a cable, get into a position where I'm more fixed at the scap, and I can just drive more pure abduction, shoulder extension, etc. So rear delt, probably rather choose that. If I wanted to train my rear delts more integrated with a compound exercise, then I'd probably just do basic rowing, which is also how I would rather train my traps and rhomboids. So again, traps and rhomboids, how would I like to train that? Well, probably through some sort of relative movement of protraction and retraction at the scapula. Nick, aren't we doing that on a face pull? Yes, we are. How loadable is a face pull? Probably not very loadable. At some point, you're gonna be limited by your ability to counterbalance your body weight to not get pulled over or not have to lean back a ton. So if our goal is to use this as a trap or rhomboid exercise, let's get into something that's gonna be a chest supported row, whether that's dumbbells, whether that's going to be some sort of machine. We have better options for training traps and rhomboids, especially in presence of more external stability. And then even if I wanted to train in less presence of external stability for some reason, if we wanted to kind of throw in some extra added challenge to cueing internal stability or training the core in a functional role, maybe I just do a bent over barbell or bent over dumbbell row, right? So training traps, rhomboids, rear delts is not something that needs a bunch of equipment. So it isn't like, oh, I'm making the most out of what I have in front of me. It's like, typically we have plenty of other ways. Like I've already mentioned, dumbbells, barbells. If we have machines or cables, even better. We can get with more external stability, also get a better arm path. A lot of times we're gonna be restricted in our ability to get the shoulder extension if we're using more of a rope. Again, there's just more reasons not to use a face pull from the standpoint of hypertrophy than there is to use one. I think there's much better options. And my friend Jordan Shallow always says the antidote to a bad idea is a better idea. So instead of me just shitting on face pulls, I'm telling us, one, we can use them well as a warm up. They're very quick and easy to set up. They get the shoulder moving through a lot of advantageous positions that we need. But there are better ideas that we can do and we can do easily to better train rear delts, to better train traps, to better train rhomboids. So if you guys disagree with me, please let me know below. I'd love to have a conversation. If you guys have better alternatives to stuff that I already mentioned in terms of growing traps, rhomboids, alternatives, whatever, let me know below as well. Let me know what you want to see next. Again, please like, please subscribe. I appreciate you guys' support and see you soon.